and thank you, Mitch, for doing the awesome ID table. We're keeping it in the family tonight, which I'm pretty excited about. So I was thinking, what's the right way to start off the new year? And this is so close. It's like literally the second day of the new year. And I'm thinking about I was going to say my New Year's resolution, but my son calls them New Year's revolutions. So I think, one thing that we talked about a lot as a board, and I know other club members have talked about it with me too, is, what can we do as a club to kind of contribute to the conservation effort where we live. And we live in a place where there's a ton of development and we have, limited lands, and how can we, be good stewards for those lands? And so, we've all been brainstorming, and if you have great ideas, please reach out. But I was thinking one great way for us to start the process of thinking about this is to learn about what our members are already doing. And so one of the first people who came to mind to me was Adele Medina O'Dowd, who I know from her work with the Norwood Park Arboriculture Project and the Little Falls Watershed Alliance. She did Norwood Park Day, and I had a great time there with my son, and a bunch of folks from MAW also went to that. So, and she and her friend and partner, Annika Haksar, am I saying Annika's name correctly? I hope. So they lead this tree conservation project. It's the Norwood Park Arboriculture Project, and it's a special project of the Little Falls Watershed Alliance. It was established in 2022 to monitor and protect and appreciate the mature canopy trees at Norwood Local Park in Chevy Chase. I actually have spent a lot of time at that park because it has some very nice playgrounds, and the trees are amazing. And there's some really interesting trees. There's a coffee tree there, like a Kentucky coffee tree. Anyway, and many other big, beautiful trees. So Adele and Annika are both they're landscape design partners. They're also both ISA certified arborists, and they are fine hand pruning experts with expertise in entomology, plant pathology, and native plants. And they've become self-taught ecologists over time. And they're particularly interested in riparian ecosystems and observing natural habitats for native organisms. So they both had exciting previous lives before that, but I'll let them tell you more. And I think Annika is maybe traveling right now, but she is, I know, with Adele in spirit. So Adele, I will turn it over to you. And should I share? Or are you sharing, or should I share?
Let me attempt to share. And if it doesn't work, then
okay.
If I just get the same, sorry, I was having problems before. Oh, hey, that kind of looks like
it's perfect. Yes, it is. So if you just click slideshow, yeah, it'll be perfect.
Okay.
Awesome.
Get this over here. Hold on. There we go. Okay. All right. Yay. Okay.
Yay.
Yes.
So okay. The last thing I'll say is, just while you're listening to Adele, just think about our own little microcosms, our own neighborhoods, and what we could be doing, and we can all brainstorm together and learn from each other. And we're very lucky to have folks like Adele and Annika, and also Zay, who's gonna be our main speaker in our club. So go ahead, Adele. Thanks.
Adele, are you still there? We can't hear you.
I think she might be frozen.
Oh, she looks frozen. I hope that, okay. I can share her slide for her, but we need her to talk. Maybe she's signing back. She must be signing back in. Sorry, guys.
A pocket full of discussion questions for when this happens. Let's see.
Oh, well, my discussion question is, can anyone write in the chat what cool project they have been working on. Cause I feel like I'm sure that there are probably many people who are doing their own kind of local conservation work. So does anyone want to, either you could talk, you don't even have to write it in the chat. You could just say what you're working.
I got this for Christmas. Has anybody tried that one? If you can see it.
Oh, mushroom grow kit. Nice.
We'll see how it does. I don't know where they got it, but
I don't know that brand. And your camera's having trouble showing it too.
yeah, I was trying to unblur and take it off, but anyway.
Is that a Back to the Woods?
Back to the woods, back to the roots.
Oh, Back to the Roots. I've seen them actually at Home Depot, and some of them were actually fruiting on the shelf.
Oh wow. Well, this one's not cracked open. I think I gotta poke holes in it. I'll probably do that in the next couple days. We'll see.
Another thing, we can give Adele another couple minutes. We could also pivot to Zay, and then we could come back to Adele. I don't know at what point you would want to do that, but
I will mention John Harper was kind of trying to get a thing. It wasn't necessarily conservation focused, but it was trying to get people to have smaller groups and go like little local parks and have a few people go on a foray there. So that might be something, maybe we'll have him talk one of these days, or if he wants to continue trying to get that going. So that might be another option in the future.
That's a great idea. And Bridget just said in the chat that there are volunteer efforts to strip invasive species from our parks. And she's going to look up some of the names, but they're on the list for kids who are volunteering in Montgomery County. And actually, that's something that I did at Norwood Park Day with Adele, and it was really fun. It was like you got to hold a very sharp object and take down a lot of weeds. So it was a great time. Okay, Adele, you're back. So why don't I share your slides? It looks like you're on your phone.
Yeah, I am. That would be great, Annie.
Okay.
You're gonna have to advance kind of quickly. I mean, well, I'll tell you when. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Okay, my daughter is working this out for me. All right.
Adele, do you have another version of the meeting up? We're getting an echo.
Yep. Okay.
Probably Adele, if you just mute your phone, then you could probably just have the other one on, or vice versa. Great.
Woo, thank God my daughter is here helping me.
Yeah, she's amazing. Woohoo!
Really jumping in where I need. That's Lucy.
She needs to come to my house. I could use her help with something.
Yeah, well, nothing beats like the little stress of like having to do this all by yourself. Anyways, hello everyone. So I need to see the bottom part too. Can you help me see the notes? Okay, so for my presentation, so as Annie was saying, the project that we're working on is a special project of the Little Falls Watershed Alliance, and Annika and myself, we are, the notes at the bottom. Oh, I can't hold it up. Okay. I'm sorry, this is such a rough start. So Annika is away today. Her birthday was yesterday, and she is in India with her family and husband on a tiger preserve. Her husband's from India. So anyway, I hope they're seeing some mushrooms, but I have no idea. They're far out of touch. But a few years ago, I wanted to mention that we started our project because of a special organism, which you've already seen, because Mitch introduced you to the stump. So the stump is a really great, wonderful character at Norwood Park. As soon as the tree was cut down, people knew that I was interested in trees in my neighborhood, and they knew that Annika was also, and they came to us and just said, hey, did you see the stump? Did you see the stump? It's such a big stump. So we went over there and we were trying to, look at this stump very closely. And we came to discover that it was a big elm tree that had been in the park for quite a long time. So this was an American elm, and it was cut down because it was right next to a playground, a very big playground at Norwood Park. And it very sadly, it died of Dutch elm disease, which, as you can see right there, is a fungal elm disease. But it's still a big presence at this park. It was very sad that it had to be taken down because, a lot of the tree was pretty much intact. I mean, you can see there's just like a little bit of a cavity there, and the rough part there is just from the saw. But anyway, since it was right next to the playground, they had to take it down, sadly. But it was exciting because everybody still liked it, no matter what. Kids were playing on it, having a good time with this stump. It's now become kind of a meeting place. And you can see that the tree was a very large presence at the park. You can see the little orange circle there. The circle has where the stump is in the canopy. And this is sort of an aerial view from Google Earth that shows only the upper part of the park. Oh gosh, hold on. I need to, it's called, sorry, my daughter's still trying to help me. It's called, I don't know. I have to, hold on. So let's see here real quick. Roots of tree conservation, that it is. Okay. So anyways, so the trees at Norwood Park are very old and very large. Some of them are up to 200 or 300 years old. It's possible. In this case, the stump was, like I said, a big presence at the park. So now I'm missing all of my notes, so I'm sorry. I'm just going to wing it. In any case, the park, this is just sort of the upper part of the park, but the park has itself a great, wonderful canopy. And I just wanted to show you another quick view of the tree right here. This is an old Google Maps picture of the tree as it existed. You can see it was really, really huge. And it was a sad thing that it had to come down, but it lives on, like I said. So there were some kids playing at the tree, and a lot of them were climbing up there and trying to count the rings. And so I did the same. And it came to my understanding, as I was counting these rings, Annika and I went over there, that there were at least 120 rings on the tree, maybe up to 140. So I was thinking to myself, this is older than the park. Maybe this is a very valuable tree, or was a valuable tree. And we started to think, well, what are the other trees in the park that could be that old or that large? Maybe this is our historic trees. What are the species in the park? Are there a lot of native species? And maybe this would make a good arboretum collection. So again, it's right there in the middle of the park. And there is another elm tree in the park. These are some of the other trees that you can see there. There's a black tupelo, eastern white pines. There are ginkgo trees. There are several ginkgo trees that are just spectacular in the fall. And here is the Kentucky coffee tree that Annie was talking about. So there's a huge variety of trees. There's trees that are volunteers, they're pioneer species, they're planted species, they have a mix of ages. And in fact, just before this time, well, actually, I think it was just after the time that the elm was cut down, the park staff planted 17 trees right around another area in the park. And that was, we're very happy about that they were being responsive, because the park staff isn't necessarily always able to respond in that way. Okay, so here you can see some more beautiful, maple. There's that elm again. There's some big chestnut trees. I'm sorry, not chestnut, oak trees. Here's a big oak tree in the middle of the park, right near the stump. Oh, good. Now, finally, thank goodness. Okay. So, as I mentioned, a lot of them have a lot of, there's a mature canopy there. And the park is very unusual because it is, let's see here. It is, there we go. Okay, I'm glad my daughter finally got this thing up for me so I can tell you the history of the park. The park is a very old park from 1939, but in 2019, when this tree came down, Annika and I had recently become ISA arborists, and around that time, we were also doing some inventory training with Casey trees. And let's see here. We were also going to a conference that Casey Trees in Montgomery Park had put on, which was called Greenscapes Conference. And we were meeting a lot of the park staff there. In fact, we were meeting like the head of the park staff there. And we had this idea with them that, maybe we could have an arboretum collection at this park. And at first, the Montgomery County people were very excited about it. The park staff was encouraging us and invited us to come to Pope Farm, where they grow all the trees for the parks in the whole entire county. And then later on, they were, as we kept pressing them on it and asking them questions, how do we do this? How can we work with you? Can we become a friends group? They started to be a lot more hesitant and ask us, are we really serious about this? Well, if we were, then the first thing we had to do is become weed warriors. So we did do that. But months went by, and it was very difficult to work with the park staff because they just don't have the capacity to take on a project like this. So luckily for us, we knew that, let's see here. Well, we wanted it to be an arboretum project. And so they were not encouraging us after a while. And so we thought, well, maybe we'll just make it into an arboriculture project. And if the collection of trees at Norwood Park never becomes an arboretum, at least what we can do is try to get people to pay better attention and take better care of the trees, and have the park staff, do some labeling of the trees so that people can know what they are, can appreciate them, and appreciate that they have been there since way before the park. Okay, so eventually we came to know that there is this great organization called the Little Falls Watershed Alliance. It's right in our backyard. And they cross boundaries of Montgomery County with DC as well, of course, because the Little Falls Watershed goes from the headwaters just above Chevy Chase down all the way to the Potomac River. So anyway, long and short of it is that Little Falls Watershed Alliance is a great organization, and they do a huge number of services for the community. They do fecal bacteria and road salt monitoring. They do biological stream monitoring. They do habitat restoration. They have large native plant projects that they do where they give grants to people to do this. They do all kinds of ecosystem education, and you can see the rest of this. And Annie was mentioning earlier, again, that one of the best things that they do is they get people involved in the Weed Warrior program, which is a program in Montgomery County and also in DC to remove really horrible invasive vines that are taking down a lot of trees and covering a lot of the native vegetation, covering all of the native plants that might have, an opportunity to grow especially a vine like porcelain berry and honeysuckle, Japanese honeysuckle, cover them up. It's awful and atrocious, but one thing that really works is when people pull the vines. And so there is a great education program, but Little Falls Watershed Alliance takes people out and shows them exactly how to do it. Yes, they work with, lots of great tools, but that's just one of the things that they do. Anyway, they invited us in. They were really great to help us. They offered us all kinds of, their infrastructure. They gave us some place to put our information on the website, and they, want to work with us to do this project, but also to incorporate our knowledge into the rest of the watershed. Okay, so here is the watershed. As I mentioned, it goes from, the Willett Branch area is where we are right here, right there, that little piece. I don't know can you see my cursor? Right between the 191 and the 355, there's a little green blob, and that's Norwood Park. Anyway, you can see that all of the water comes down through the upper part of the county and flows down right through this area to the Potomac River. Okay, so I wanted to mention that one amazing thing that Montgomery County does do is they do an inventory of the trees in all of the parks. And let me just escape this for a moment, because I can show you, I wanted to show you live. There is, let's see here. Okay, so here is the live version of this database, and you can look around at all the different trees. You can see there's Little Falls Trail is going through a big area of woods. So this urban forest tract, this part that says Little Falls SVU, which is Stream Valley 2, is also part and adjacent to Norwood Park, and it kind of connects to the Capitol Crescent Trail just right over here. It's all part of the same urban forest. And like I said, this area handles all the water coming from upstream through Bethesda and through other upper parts of the county. But you can see there are big portions of Norwood Park where their trees are accounted for, which is really helpful, because one of the things that you need to do if you are going to have an arboretum is you have to have an inventory for the trees. And it's not that difficult, really, to have an arboretum. There's only a few different requirements. One is to have an inventory, one is to have a plan, one is to have an event once a year, one is to have a volunteer staff, and I can't remember what the last thing is, but there's only 5 things. There's I moved past it kind of quickly, but there is an organization called ArbNet that that helps with accreditation, and you apply. There's, a system for applying. Lots of different kinds of places are arboretums, and you don't even know it. Many college campuses these days, etc. Lots of different places, private places, and they don't need to change whatever is going on there. So for instance, there are a lot of ballparks at Norwood Park. There's big open spaces. None of that has to change. Oh, I know what the 5th thing is. The trees must be labeled. So, but I just wanted to show you really quickly about this tree keeper system. Anybody can go online and see it. So if you click on any of the little yellow dots, it will give you some information about each tree. It's not really responding for me right now, but it doesn't matter. The point is that it's very fun to go and look at the different trees, because you can definitely, if you don't know what trees are around in your park, you can look them up. You can find out exactly what they are, and it has a size. So you're not guessing. I think it's very important for people to understand that it's not impossible to learn about trees. You just have to start with what you know and what you can find out, and go on from there. Anyway, there's some other interesting information on the left-hand side there with the amount of carbon dioxide uptake, stormwater mitigation. So if you're interested in knowing about any of this, it's all there right in front of you. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the presentation real quick. So let's see here. Okay. All right. So I just wanted to show you that very quickly. So as Annie mentioned, as we were moving along trying to trying to persuade Montgomery County to help us with the getting an arboretum established and getting resistance, we decided we needed to have an event. And in fact, Norwood Park was turning 85 this year, or 2 years ago in 2022. So we decided, oh, let's lead some people around on some tree tours and show them in person what trees are there, how beautiful they are, and what types they are, and explain how you can identify them. So we took on this little project. Myself, Annika, and our friend Wendy, who works with us also, we decided we would do this. But then suddenly, lots more people were interested in contributing information to this day. And we decided that we would try to get a geologist, try to get a watershed person, try to get well, we invited Ma to come, and Isaiah and John and Annie and lots of other people came. It was great. Annie and her son, as she mentioned, they were in the woods cutting the vines down and just doing a great job. Isaiah and John were talking all about mushrooms, and John was cooking some mushrooms. People were very impressed. That was really great. And I just want to mention one thing about Ma that was kind of inspirational for this day, which was that, you know, being a part of Ma as a club member showed me that going out and looking at these things in person together as a community is really, really fun. And finding out and learning through this way is one of the best ways, because if you're just trying to learn it from a book, or if you're trying to become, you know, more scientifically minded, you know, just learning from a book or trying to get it through an academic, you know, study is one way, but it's not the only way. And lots of us who, as younger people, were not encouraged in that way. And I just want to say that you should always encourage your young folks to learn in whatever way they can. So anyway, but it's also fun walking around in the beautiful October day, which this was. So we had this Natural History Day. We had, as I mentioned, a geologist. We had mushroom people. We had a book sale, a book giveaway. It wasn't a sale, it was a giveaway. We traded books. There were some other representatives, the Maryland Native Plant Society people came. It was a wonderful day. So here we are giving the tours. There's some beautiful maple tree. They were standing under. About 50 or 60 people were following myself and Annika around, and we just really couldn't believe it. It was rather shocking. So here you can see some of the moments from the day. The geologist, there's Isaiah, and my friend Wendy in the middle there with the red jacket. She's talking about an Ohio Buckeye. That was pretty cool. And anyway, in the end, it was quite a great celebration. And we're trying to determine what's going to come next. What we've been doing in the past year or so since then, that was a big day, and it took a lot of people to pull it off. But in the meantime, we're continuing our tree tours. We're trying to still work with Montgomery County, and especially through Little Falls Watershed Society Alliance. But we want to do tours now that are combinations, more like ecosystem tours, like trees and mycology, trees and geology, trees and birds, insects, these things combined to show that the connections are vital. And it's not just about one type of organism or another, that all of these things work collaboratively, and they have evolved, they've co-evolved together. So I think that's very important. We went with Isaiah just a couple of months ago out on another walk, which was really a great one too. And I hope to invite you all in the coming year for another one. Let's see here. So one tree I just wanted to mention is a black walnut tree. And this is the type of information that we're giving people on these tree tours. We're talking to people about, you know, where in the landscape they might see it, the culture and history, of the different types of trees, you know, what kinds of seeds do they have, what kind of ecosystem partnerships they have. You know, black walnut, for instance, you know, it has that chemical in the soil that is that, you know, that helps it compete with certain other species. Some species don't mind growing next to it, like dogwoods and other native species, as I think we've mentioned that before in some of our MAW meetings about this particular tree. But I love this tree. There is one in my own backyard, but this one is right on the edge of Norwood Park. Norwood Park is really great because you can see trees individually inside the park, and then you just walk a few feet to the edge of the park in the Little Falls Stream Valley area, and it's more wooded. It's much more enclosed, and this I think would be a great place to find more mushrooms. But this particular area is a habitat conservation area. There was a project done here where we removed many vines from a huge, basically an entire slope. It's draining water, storm water, all the way down this big slope. It's probably like a half a mile slope. And a few years ago, Little Falls Watershed Alliance replanted all of this area with native plants. You can see the yellow wing stem native plant growing. Those yellow plants are about 5 feet tall. The black walnut is in the background there. So these things coexist. It's perfect. So I think just to show you the kinds of things that we're working on, we would like to do another Natural History Day. It was a very exciting thing, but we need help. So if you would like to help us with this, we would definitely welcome it. And here is the mushrooms that I found just the other day on the stump. There's my dog Archie. He helps me walk through this park every single day. It's a wonderful stump and a wonderful place and a wonderful ecosystem. And here are some of there was some bark falling away. And so here's some of the mycelium underneath there, I guess. I don't know what you'd call it, but there it is. More underneath the bark. It was just falling apart. So, but I just wanted to finish by saying, you know, this stump is just very symbolic and significant to us all. So thank the stump. That's it.
Adele, that is so awesome. Thank you so much. And I love hearing the story of how your kind of vision for this project evolved from this experience of seeing something that, to me, you know, well, first of all, it's very sad. And I'm thinking, stupid kids, why do they have to play on the playground and get the tree cut down? But in fact, you know, the tree was sick. And I think it's so beautiful how you took, you know, the sadness and the loss of such a old and grand tree, but then you're able to make it into something that is so powerful and that involved so many people in our community. And I was so excited to be part of it. I just think this is the kind of thing where it's like, with mushrooms and with going out in the woods, to me, it's all just like a practice of being aware and in awe and present in everything that you're doing. And I get that so much from the work that you're telling us about. So thank you, Adele. And you and Annika are just amazing. And I definitely want to join if you do another day, and would be happy to do some mushroom walks on it. But that's terrific. Let's see. It sounds like you have a lot of folks who are very interested. You got great presentations. Let's see. April said in response to your black walnut tree, that was such a cool information. She said she's planning a 3-course meal with black walnuts this month.
Fantastic.
Get in on that. And some other folks, Bridget shared some connections to links to the Weed Warriors.
Oh yeah, I did want to say that I have links to a lot of these organizations, and especially to the Little Falls Watershed Alliance. But no, I don't want to stop sharing. I want to escape this. Okay. Oh, all right. So let me just show you. Okay, so I showed you the tree keepers. I also wanted to show you that there is an actual do-it-yourself tree tour that we created. Here it is with the map. It describes each of the trees. There's 13 on this particular tour. You can go to the Little Falls Watershed Alliance website, download this map, and just go around and identify the trees yourself. There are also great. I want to just really emphasize that the Weed Warrior program in Montgomery County has fantastic online training to learn how to remove and identify, especially to identify the invasive vines. There's about 5 that's really easy to learn. And their training is excellent. Even if you never go to a park and pull vines, you need to know this information to do it from your own backyard, because it's not as though the vines know where your backyard ends and the park begins. So I highly recommend it. It's great. Anyways, there are several other links that I can provide to you guys for the organizations that I showed.
Awesome. Well, I just threw the Little Falls Watershed Alliance link into the chat, and I get their emails every week. And it is honestly so helpful to me because I'm in Cabin John Creek, I'm in Little Falls Creek, and whether or not I go in there with my son, literally, like whether or not I allow us to go in, I will base on the number of E. coli, bacterial count. And that's what they're doing every week, especially in the summer. And they're telling you, it's a safe time to wade. It's not a safe time to wade. And it makes you think, honestly, like when I'm walking my dog, like I always pick up her poop, obviously, but this is like, why do you pick up your dog's poop? So there isn't E. coli in our streams. And so this is just something like, I really think this is a great example of just like how we can connect with what we have. Okay.
I just put one last thing in the chat, which is a link to a conference, the Greenscapes conference that I was mentioning. It is an excellent conference, and I recommend that anyone go to this because you can meet people there who you can talk about these things with, build, brainstorm and build projects and build community. So if you want to start doing that and you don't know where to start, I think, well, come work with us, but also go to this Greenscapes conference.
Awesome. Well, that's perfect for those of us who are looking for New Year's revolutions.